President Cyril Ramaphosa has officially reprimanded Defence Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula. This after she took an ANC delegation to Zimbabwe on a South African Air Force aircraft. She'll be docked 3 months' pay and instructed by the President to ensure that the ANC reimburses the state for the costs of the flight to Harare. Ramaphosa found that Nqakula didn't act in the best interests of good governance. Political analyst Sandile Swana joins me now to discuss this. Sandile, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Does this punitive action by the President surprise you in any way? And also, does it show the seriousness of what the President is taking good governance here?
Oh, thank you so much. I think the punitive measures taken will raise more questions than they answer. First of all, we must remember that very recently, the head of the South African National Defence Force, General Solly Shoke, made it clear that the National Defence Force must not involve itself in matters of political parties. This action by Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula is a direct violation of the conventions of the South African Defence Force, clearly. Number two, nobody, I have not yet heard anybody, including the President of South Africa, stating which specific laws have been violated, because the Defence Act of South Africa does not allow anybody to use either the personnel or the equipment of the Defence Force outside of the strict duties of the Defence Force. Another issue that has not yet been discussed is these people who were allowed to enter an aircraft of the Defence Force and also to enter the Air Force base itself. What security clearance do they have? Because we know that some of them have even got criminal records. Those issues, I think, need to be canvassed in order to determine the seriousness of the issue and punitive measures relevant to the matter. And lastly, I would say that this is not the first time that under the leadership of Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, while Cyril Ramaphosa has been in the cabinet, there has been clear compromise of national key points where the Guptas landed at the Air Force base, that also Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula herself used an airplane of the South African Air Force to go and pick up a relative or a friend from, I believe it was the Congo or Angola. I think it was the Congo, actually. So she has been doing this. This is the third offense that we as the public know of. And she is a repeat offender. So I would expect our members of parliament to raise serious questions. And these questions must be based in law. It can't be about emotional issues, vague issues. The statement by the president is very vague, and it is not grounded in law proper.
So you mentioned 3 offences so far by the minister. Do you think somehow she's just trying to undermine the president at the moment, or simply just reckless?
She's not undermining the president at all, in the sense that the offences, the 2 previous offences, were committed while Cyril Ramaphosa was in the cabinet, if I remember the dates correctly. So, as colleagues, they would have been in it together. For instance, the landing of the Guptas, and also when she went to pick up her relative, her friend in the Congo. So she was there. She's been offending in front of Cyril. But on the other hand, we must also be aware that there's been a commotion here whereby the members of MKVA and also other, I suppose, members of MK and so on are organizing a cadres forum under the SADF. So they are in some ways politicizing the military within the broader battles of ANC factions and so on and so forth. And when you look at the types of people that went on this trip, this junket to Zimbabwe, you can see that there are factions that are involved in this. But factions are also very difficult in the ANC to pinpoint accurately. For instance, when you look at the fact that Zizi Kodwa, whom we thought maybe is a member of the Cyril Ramaphosa faction, but at the same time is implicated in the asbestos scandals in the Free State together with Ace Magashule. So you don't know exactly how these factions, where their precise boundaries are. So Cyril Ramaphosa is playing safe to keep his position as president of the country and president of the ANC, and playing to the gallery of the different factions in the ANC rather than to satisfy the legal requirements of the laws of South Africa and the Constitution, as well as Parliament and ourselves as the public.
Now, this is a very important portfolio. I mean, the Defence Ministry is a very important portfolio in the country. You're saying this is just a simple reprimand. It's not enough. What are you saying? Should she be fired?
I think the members of Parliament will guide us, because I don't like this idea of people just jumping up and saying someone must be fired. She has abused the personnel of the Defence Force. She has abused the equipment of the Defence Force. She has abused her office. And there are laws that govern those things. And we must be sure that she is being judged and sentenced according to those laws, not according to how we feel. So Cyril would need to confirm that all the various sections of the Defence Act, the Municipal Finance Management Act, and other acts that are relevant to this matter have been considered, as well as the ethics code that governs members of the cabinet, executive ethics code, and so on and so forth. So to me, I cannot say whether this is an offense that needs her to be fired, but I bear in mind at the same time and remind the public that this is the third offense that we as the public have come to know of since she has been in that portfolio.
What do you make of the ANC reimbursing the state in terms of the costs of the flight?
I think that is a practice that the ANC must encourage. As the ANC, it must also encourage its members to reimburse the state in general, where they have taken monies for whatever purpose outside of the proper guidance of the PFMA, the MFMA, and other statutes that govern the finances of this country. That is a very good practice that the ANC is there. But again, you may well find that there's a need to charge the ANC under the Defence Act of South Africa and other acts, as well as the individuals who went and boarded the planes of the Air Force of South Africa, maybe even without proper authorization, without proper security clearance, and so on and so forth. I think this issue is being trivialized. I am in support of South Africa assisting in all the diplomatic crises, military crises, unconstitutional coups in Africa and elsewhere, even intervening in Zimbabwe. But I am not in support of any effort to break the laws of South Africa in the name of trying to help other countries.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your views and your thoughts with us here on ENCA. That's Sandile Swana, who's a political analyst, speaking to us about the President Ramaphosa reprimanding Minister of Defence for that now notorious Zimbabwe trip.